What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be our Sunday update video. Got a little bit of stuff done this weekend. Happy with the progress. I do want to say we should have received the wide body kit already. Some of you have probably realized that it's not here. So I spoke with Mayor. They said that it will for sure ship either this upcoming week or no later than the week after. So I'm not sure what happened. There was some miscommunication on their side, and they had shipped me out the snug fit rear bumper, but somehow the wide body kit, I'm not going to say it got misplaced. I'm not sure what happened, but it didn't get finished. The front sections didn't get finished. They had the rear sections done, or at least that's what they told me in the email. But they said that I will for sure have it within the next 2 weeks. So that's okay. We still got a lot of stuff to button up between now and then, and a lot that we can do on this car. So no big deal, but did want to give an update on that. And so that's the situation. What we've been doing this weekend, if you've been watching the short video clips, I said I wanted to work on the front and the rear of the car, and so that's exactly what we did. In the front, you can see we now have the chin piece and the splitter, and then the little splitter bars are all in their permanent locations. Of course, they're just mocked up on there for now, but this is basically how they're gonna sit. I don't see any reason why I would change anything. We did get the bottom half of this bumper formed where it fits a whole lot better to this splitter, and after I paint the car, my plan is to actually take and tape off this side and put a little bit of black silicone or seam seal, something just to make sure that there's no gap at all. But the gap is actually, it's really good. I mean, it's really straight, and it turned out good. It doesn't even really need the seam sealer, but I may put some just so that it is perfect. But we got that done. It was a lot of material that had to be added in order to get this chin piece to look right and to look like it was made for this bumper. And so we did that, and I just sprayed the whole front bumper down after I sanded it with some spray can, rattle can, sandable primer. That was just mainly so that I could see if there's any more body work necessary before we get to the final stages. There is a few spots that will need touched up on it. No big deal. As you can see, we got this side fitting really good. Now this bumper is still loose. It actually has to push down some. I've only got one bolt in each side. And the reason why it's back on the car, if you don't know anything about fiberglass parts, if you leave them sitting, they tend to warp. And so I want to keep it on the car semi-snug so that this thing doesn't warp way out of shape, and then we wind up having to do a lot more work later, in order to get it straightened back up. So it already had just a little bit of warpage. I had to pull that side over there down, but it wasn't enough to affect anything. So got a bolt in this side. This side still has to come down some. I do plan maybe next weekend to finish bolting this thing down. I actually got to get some more bolts and get everything tight so that it can set like it's supposed to. We shouldn't run into any issues with the splitter. That's another reason that I'm keeping it bolted, because I don't want it to bow and then the splitter not fit correct anymore. This side over here, if you've seen the previous videos, we had a huge issue going on here. It's a lot better now. I added some material here. Still got to add some more. You can see it's not perfect, but gonna add some more and get this line matching up with this line just like the other side, and then we'll get this whole thing bolted in where all this fits flush. But aside from that, we did permanently install the heat extractor. It's gonna be fun when I paint this hood, because I'm gonna have to be really careful when I tape off this heat extractor so that I don't get paint on it, and then I've actually got to get paint in these edges here. So that's gonna be fun, just getting all this stuff covered. But I wanted this to be a permanent fixture of the hood. The hood is just really not thick enough to like put bolts or anything in it, and so I fiberglassed it from underneath. I believe it was 3 layers of fabric with fiberglass, and then I sanded all of that smooth, and then I came back over the top of all of that with a little bit of body fill, and I sanded that. I can actually kind of show you here what we're working with. So we got that same black sandable primer, but you can see some of the body fill down there. That's all smooth. Still may need a little bit of work, but I don't care if the underside of the hood is perfect, because it doesn't have to be. This hood, you know, is a fiberglass hood, and they stay bowed and moving around, and so this area doesn't have to be perfectly flat. It's not going to matter, and it's not going to look any different than it would without the extractor. That was already kind of a curved area, and so we did that. Coming to the rear of the car, I got the snug fit rear bumper. If you've seen the other videos, you know that we just made the bumper and these corner markers one piece now, and so I got all of that sanded. I'm pretty happy with the lines. I might do just a little more work to them, but not much. Both sides, like I say, they turned out good. I'm happy with it. You can see, need a little bit of body fill there. No big deal. I plan to finish this rear bumper maybe this upcoming weekend. I'm not in that big of a hurry. Winter time is basically here, and so it's gonna get cold at any moment, and I'm not 100% sure if I want to paint the car during the winter or if I want to wait till spring. We'll just have to wait and see on that aspect of it, but still plenty of stuff that I can do between now and then, and it'll slow me down, because I don't want to get in a hurry on this car and halfway do something. I've spent so much time, so much money on this car. I really want it to be as good as it can be to the best of my abilities. And so with that being said, if it's your first time on this channel, I am by no means a professional body man. I'm not a professional metal fabricator. I'm not a professional anything, to be honest with you. But I get out here in my shop and I stay working on it, and I learn as I go. That's the best you can do. Before I started this car, I had never really done anything near what this car is having done to it. I've done some other project cars in the past, but nothing this custom, nothing that needed metal cut out and fresh metal put in, no wide body, no fiberglass work. You know, I built one fiberglass speaker box when I was probably 18, and that was about some of my fiberglass experience. So again, not a professional. If you see something that I'm doing wrong or you think is wrong, let me know in the comments, because not afraid to take advice. I've definitely learned a lot as I've went with this car. I've messed up a few things. I've had to fix a few things. my own mistakes, and those have cost me money. I think I've got 3 sets of fenders already been on this car. Ordered wrong parts that wasn't going to work, like the original front bumper, and so that's just kind of where we're at. But like I say, I stay out here, I stay working on it, and I try to do everything right based off of the information that I can find on YouTube, Google, and just watching videos. So, you know, we got this side scoop here that's attached with the 3M panel bond. That's what everybody now says is the right way to do it, so that's the way we did it. But pretty much we did what we said we was going to do this weekend. I wanted to work, like I said, on the front of the car and the back of the car. I got that accomplished. I even got a little bit more done than I was planning to get done, and so if you've been following the channel, you'll know that the rear deck lid, we had to strip it completely back down, and I did that maybe a month ago, maybe even longer than a month ago. And this thing has just been propped up, left in the shop, and I've kind of been ignoring it because when I stripped it back down, I had to strip all the body filler back off that I had done and just start with a fresh canvas. And so I had stripped it, added a little body filler, and then never touched it again. And so today I finally decided to work on it, and you can see I got one really thick coat of epoxy. I really laid this epoxy on there. Obviously you're looking at it, yes, you can see the body filled areas. Big area there, another area here, and then some original damage before I even had this car. The reason why we have these 3 sections of body fill is because when I originally did this car, I had a different style of wing on here, and it actually bolted down the center, and so we had to weld those holes shut and grind all of that down. And so we took body fill and just smoothed out those areas. On camera it probably looks pretty bad. I'm looking at it through the lens. You can see literally 1, 2, 3 layers of body fill. It's not very thick. It's not as thick as it looks. It's pretty paper thin, but I did 3 layers because I kept getting pinholes. I'm not good at mixing body fill, so I get the little air holes, and so I had to do 3 layers of it to get it right. Aside from that, this hood is really smooth. I don't see any more dents right off that have to be fixed. I do have one small spot there that still needs just a little bit of body fill, and then I can block this whole trunk. My plan is to fix that one spot after this cures. I'm gonna let it sit all week, and I will rough sand the entire thing, fix that one spot, and then I'm gonna I've actually got the feather fill. This is a polyester based primer. So now that we've got it sealed with the epoxy, I'm gonna give this stuff a shot. I've heard good things about it. It's a high build primer, and so I'm gonna put, like, 2, 3, 4 coats, whatever it takes, of this over the top of this epoxy, and then I'll block this thing and hopefully have it, perfectly flat. We do have some holes. There's 4 holes. This hole is about half filled with body filler, no big deal. That's for the new rear wing that's going on here. I've already drilled those holes and got that lined up how I want it, so that once I paint it, I don't have to do any drilling. All I got to do is reassemble it and get it on the car. But we did that. That's about the sum of what I've done this weekend. The last thing, I guess, before I end the video, I can show you. I got a metal brake. I wish I would have had this thing when I did the hood vent. I had to do all that by hand. Same thing with the front chin piece, which this brake is not big enough, it's not wide enough really to do chin pieces, but it would have been perfect to do the hood heat extractor. But I decided to pick one of these up because I might actually make and sell some of those heat extractors. If anybody wants one, hit me up in the comments. But like I say, I think I'm thinking about making those and just always needing a metal brake. So I picked this thing up. It works pretty decent. I haven't actually used it on any real projects yet, but I do have a couple of pieces of metal just laying around here. This was a piece of metal. The bends are pretty good. I mean, this thing was $100 on Amazon, so I think it bends pretty well. And this is that piece I showed you was 20 gauge steel, which is the maximum that it claims it can bend. Honestly, I think it might bend something a little thicker, but I'm never going to have any use for anything thicker than that. But this is actually part of one of the fenders that didn't work out, and you can see I was able to bend this pretty nice. So like I say, just wanted to show that. We ordered that for the shop. We're pretty much running out of stuff, major stuff to do. At this point, I kind of want to just reassemble the whole car. We've got 95% of the interior in. We've got the rear bumper on. I put the valance on, which it only has one bolt holding it in, just in the middle. But I kind of want to assemble the grill, assemble the car as if it was finished, just to make sure everything is fitting correctly. And we'll have to disassemble before paint, but I'm not sure what all is going to come off. I don't think the rear valance is going to have to come off for paint because I've already painted behind it. The rear bumper will definitely come off for paint. The hood will definitely come off for paint. The trunk will be off for paint. The front bumper will be off for paint. Obviously the chin piece and all that has to come off, and I have to remove my air box and tape up all underneath the hood. But I think everything else on the car will be fine, but I do need to fit the rails. There's actually a rail piece that goes in here that has a rubber gasket. That needs to be fitted on both sides and make sure that that is right. Whenever I did the drip rail delete and we did all this work in here, the original mounting holes are no longer there. They've either been covered with a small layer of body fill, which my intentions was to just poke those back out, or they got replaced with fresh metal. Either way, none of those holes are there that I can remember. If I could even find one hole, that would be great, but I got to get that rail pieces back on the car so that I can make sure that's fitting correctly before paint, and get all those holes either cleaned out or re-drilled. So there is, like I say, there's plenty of stuff to do. Still gotta mess with this wiring in the trunk. None of this has been done. I haven't even installed the new battery holder, but we still got plenty to do before the body kit gets here. But like I say, I think we're gonna get the wide body kit, get that on there, and then I'm not gonna get in a rush to paint the car. If I do paint the car, that's fine, but like I say, I want to make sure all the body work is done before that. So anyway, I hope you like the videos. I hope you like the car. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. That'll help the channel grow. Share the video with your friends if you like the build, and we'll see you guys next week.